Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Can Keithie Take the Heat? And this is going to be probably a monthly show where we're going to, cook some of the recipes from the WWF's cookbook, the JR cookbook, Can You Take the Heat? Jim J.R. Ross and the WWF Superstars. As you can see, I have couple of recipes already bookmarked here. And today we're going to be kind of doing a little bit of a spin on Jim Ross's roasted chicken and the British Bulldog green beans with garlic. So first thing I want to point out is I have my pan with my green beans. I had snipped them, washed them, just kind of rinse them off with water. I have what we call mirepoix is all set up. So for the green beans, I have about a stick of butter or 4 tablespoons of butter. And I also have some chopped garlic. It said for only a clove, but I did like 4 cloves of garlic. And then also I did the rind of a lemon. And I also have the juice of a lemon as well. And I'm going to kind of end that with that juice at the end. And then as far as the chicken goes, I have a 4 or 5 pound chicken. And I have some, now the recipe Jim Ross says to use Sylvia's Secret Chicken Rub seasoning or the seasoning of your choice. I couldn't find Sylvia's. I don't know if it went out of business in 2000 or not. So I went with Chef Paul Prudhomme's magic seasoning blend for poultry magic. So, and then I have a couple pieces of 2 halves of a lemon. So I have a whole lemon. And then I have a little bit of a bunch of some thyme and some bay leaf that I kind of wrapped in this little package here to stick inside the chicken to let it cook while we roast it. Now, I have a cast iron skillet in the oven, preheating at 500. And I'm doing that just because when you cook a chicken, the best thing to do if you're going to be roasting it in the oven is to put it in a cast iron skillet because you want to get some heat into the thighs because the thighs will cook slower than the breast. And what happens is you tend to dry out the breast before the thighs fully cook. So what most chefs will tell you to do is to put that on like a cast iron skillet that's already preheated because it'll start to like sear and sizzle into, it'll sear in the juices of the chicken on the thighs. And then you basically can, then it'll cook the same and everything. The recipe for here, the little difference on this is that JR is doing this on a grill. So he's letting it on a grill and he's putting the chicken on like a beer can and doing a beer can cook on a grill for about 2.5 hours. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it in an oven, 450 for about an hour. And we'll see how the temperature of the chicken comes out at that point. So right now I have everything up that I need. I'm going to salt the inside of the cavity with some coarse salt. And then of course I'm going to put my herb Thai as well as the lemon in there. And then we're going to go ahead and put that in. So first thing I'm going to do is my chicken is over by, right here's my chicken. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to salt the inside of the chicken cavity. And let me see if I can do this. I may not be able to see it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but let's see if I can do this. I'm going to salt the inside of the cavity. And then I'm going to wash my hands because cleanliness is right next to godliness. So let me just kind of salt the inside of the cavity here. And actually, while I'm just sitting there, I'll go ahead and I'll put the lemon in. I'll put the lemon, and then I'm going to put the herb wrap because I want that in there as well. And then what I'll do is I'm going to do what's called trussing the chicken, and that's just basically tying the legs together to make sure that whatever stays inside stays inside. So I have a little bit of twine. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie the chicken legs together, the drumsticks. So just real kind of simple, nothing wicked fancy. I'm going to cut these off at the end anyway. So, and then what I'll do after this is I'll read the recipe from the cookbook so that everybody can kind of see what the recipe was. But really, like I said, it's just a little bit of a variation. It's not even that much of a variation because I didn't really want to go all nuts. And this will be the first recipe that I do. Hopefully I'll be able to do a few more, and we'll have a lot of fun. And occasionally what I'm going to do is throw in a recipe from the Sopranos cookbook. It's the official, I think it's the official Artibuco cookbook. So I'll probably throw, every now and then I'll do a recipe from there. All right, so that's all kind of done up. All right, so let me wash my hands. And I was letting that cast iron skillet come to temp, so it should be ready to go. And I'll wait to cook my green beans, obviously, because I don't need them right away. All right. Okay, so. And what I'll do is, so I salted the inside of the cavity. I put the lemons and the thyme and bay leaf in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the skillet on the stove. I'm going to put the chicken on the skillet. And then I'm going to cover it with the seasoning. Here we go. Now, one thing they always tell you, you want to have to tuck the wings in, and that's just because they'll dry out. So wash my hands again. I'm kind of nervous all the time about cross-contamination and stuff like that, so I get nervous. But you can already hear the sizzle here. So, all right. Now I'm going to add this. And I'm going to be generous, very generous with this. Mostly because I wanted to get that flavor. But also throw a little bit of olive oil down as well. And a little bit in the skillet as well. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is throw this in. It's a heavy sucker. Okay. And now I have it at 500. I'm going to lower it to 450. All right, and I'm going to let that cook for about an hour, and then we'll be back.
Hungry for both steak and shrimp?
Doctor, give me the news. I got a vacation loving too.
Hi, everybody. So I wanted to kind of go over the recipes that I'm going to be cooking on here, and the reason being, so part of I guess a little bit of a explanation on this is that what I'll do is I'll kind of just read the recipe, because Jim Ross has some notes, almost like liner notes in here, I guess. So what I'll do is, so this is JR's roasted chicken. This is a great way to do chicken on your grill, and a recipe we use at our house quite often. Because the bird is essentially smoked for 2.5 hours, it's very healthful. Just remember that all great grill cooks must have patience, because this one takes a while to get perfect. The can inserted into the chicken makes a unique visual, but an even better pedestal on which your yard bird will smoke perfectly. And don't forget, the cans do get very hot, so handle with care. And of course, the recipe is 2 4 to 5 pound chickens. Like I said, I kind of edited this a little bit. I didn't get 2 of them. I only got 1. 2 tablespoons of Sylvia's secret chicken rub seasoning, or seasoning of your choice. Sea salt to taste. Coarsely ground pepper to taste. Half a teaspoon of paprika. 2 half-full 12-ounce cans of beer, and cooking spray. So it says rinse the chickens and pat them dry with paper towels inside and out. Mix the chicken rub seasoning, salt, pepper, and paprika together and rub generously on the chickens inside and out. Place the chickens over place the chickens over the open beer cans so that the beer cans are just inside the cavities of the 2 chickens, and coat the chickens with cooking spray. Carefully stand the chickens on the beer cans on the grill and roast them slowly over medium-low heat until golden brown, about 2.5 hours. Check every 20 minutes to adjust the heat, and spray the chickens with cooking spray to keep them moist. It says makes 4 servings. That's he's giving everybody a half a chicken each, which is kind of nice. Like I said, I did a little bit different. I'm grilling them, or I'm cooking them. I'm roasting them, I should say, on a cast iron skillet, which I said I got 1 5-pound chicken. I salted the inside of the cavity. I did put 2 halves of a lemon, so a whole lemon in there, cut in half, along with a little bundle of thyme and bay leaves. And I then spread on the chicken Paul Prudhomme's magic poultry seasoning. And I'm going to cook it for 450 for about an hour. And it does say about, for roasting chicken, you can do 450 for half an hour and then lower it to 425. I'm probably going to do 450 for the entire hour, only because that's usually for like a 4-pound chicken. You kind of like lower a little bit. And this was a 5-pound chicken. So I'm going to do probably 450 for the whole hour. Now, on to the Bulldogs grilled green beans with garlic. Lots of the Federation's best conditioned athletes eat a pickup truckload of garlic, especially the Bulldog. At age 15, the British Bulldog Davy Boy Smith was wrestling professionally in his hometown of Manchester, England, and at the age of 36, the UK strongman is still kicking. If you can use fresh green beans, you'll put smiles on faces. So the recipe here asks for a half a cup of water, salt, 1 pound of fresh green beans trimmed, 4 tablespoons or a half a stick of butter or margarine, 1 clove of garlic peeled and crushed, freshly ground black pepper to taste. Like I said, I did a little different where I have, I did a bunch of garlic, and then I also did the rind of a lemon, and then I'm going to finish it off with some lemon juice at the end. But in a deep skillet, it says add the water, a pinch of salt, and the green beans. Cover and cook for high heat until the beans are barely tender, about 3.5 minutes. It says place the beans in a serving dish and cover to keep them warm. In a small saucepan over medium heat, melt the butter with the garlic. Pour the mixture over the beans, add a pinch of salt and pepper to taste. So what I'll do in this case is, pretty much right when the chicken is, I'll probably take the chicken out, let it rest a little bit, and then that's what I'll do is I'll cook the green beans. I'll probably just end up cooking the green beans and then in the water, and then like kind of when the water dries out, or maybe I'll even drain them a little bit if there's still like some standing water in there after about 4 or 5 minutes. Then what I'll do is I'll just throw the garlic, the butter, and let it kind of all mix and saute in the pan that I have. And I'll cover the pan so that it kind of melts everything quickly and starts to simmer it together. And then after about a few minutes, I'll just throw the lemon juice on the rest, and then we'll call it a day. So we'll be back when that's all done.
At Olive Garden, we think you should get more for less, especially when it comes to your favorites. So with Create Your Own Pasta, you choose your perfect combination of pasta and made-from-scratch sauce. And it comes with round after round of our never-ending homemade soup or garden fresh salad and buttery breadsticks, all starting at just $12.99. Because nothing says more like getting all your favorites for less.
All right, everybody. So I am back. I will show you what the chicken looks like in a minute, but we're going to start on the green beans right now. So I'm going to get myself a lid for this. Yeah, I'm going to put these on like medium heat, and I'm going to throw a little bit, about a quarter of a cup, I think. To get them a little steamy here. And now I'll show you what this chicken looks like. See what this chicken looks. Oh yeah. So I measured the internal temp. It was pretty good, came out. So you can see that's a pretty good, and I've been letting that sit for a little bit while I let these green beans cook. And then, like I said, I'm going to add the garlic, butter, and lemon mix, and then the lemon juice will be at the end. Okay. So while that's going on, I think we can talk about some of the other shows that we have on the Backbone Wrestling Network. Of course, we have Logan's Cross Up, And then we also have, well, I could start with, we have New Gen on a Mission. We have Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? We also have the movie education of Logan Crosland, which is what I'm on, as well as the Shit Take with Sean Kidd, and also Hands of Z, which we have. So we get some other shows on here. But let me turn that up just a little bit. And I'm going to just take... Okay. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Oh yeah, the juices are coming out of the chicken. Looking good. Mm-hmm. That looks great right there. Okay. I just wanted to move. I moved the chicken from the cast iron skillet onto the cutting board so that we can cut it out. Now I'm going to, we got the green beans here are steaming. Just gonna leave that lid off a little bit. I'm gonna actually turn the heat up a little on these. I'll let the steam escape, but I definitely want to kind of speed this up a little bit because it's getting pretty late, and I think everybody in the house wants to eat. So it says it should only take about 3 minutes. So these, mostly what I'm doing is I'm just cooking these, let the water kind of cook out. Fresh vegetables will always cook faster than like frozen or, you know, canned or anything like that. So okay, so that water's kind of, all right, so that water's kind of, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this all in the middle here. All right, so I put that in. Now I'm going to let this, cover that again, let that cook. Yeah, so as that butter melts, gonna season. I'll throw a little bit of salt, not a ton of salt, not a ton of pepper either, but some salt. And of course, black pepper. Yeah, those are nice and coated now. Oh yeah. I'll do. I'll pick one up. Mm-hmm. Delicious. So turn that off now. I'll add my lemon juice. And that's it. And that is a pretty good meal. You want my opinion? We got buttery garlic, green beans with a little lemon on them. And then, of course, we have our roasted chicken. So, all that being said, I think we got a pretty decent meal here for a weeknight. So for Can Keithie Take the Heat? This is Keithie Langston. Have a great evening. We'll see you when we see you.